Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. Greetings and salutations to all. This is the Wannabe Critic Podcast, and I'm your host, Gabriel Fast. Joining me are my co-hosts. I have one, Jacob Labriere. I have Elijah Middlesworth and Mikey Collins. Gentlemen, how you feeling? How's it going, bros? That is so
I feel
cringy.
good.
I'm so sorry.
I felt really good until you just did that.
I'm so sorry.
That was.
I am so
that was
sorry.
the worst intro.
I
Can we
know.
restart?
No, we're not. We're going with it. We are rolling with it right now. Stick to your guns.
Cutie pie? Really? That's what you revert to?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I can't help myself. You know what I mean? Like, someone comes to mind. Like, I almost started singing Danger Zone by the great Kenny Loggins, but I couldn't remember how it went. So now
That would have been a lot
Revving up the
Wow.
engines.
the danger zone.
way to
You
talk
know what I
out
mean?
the song and like let everyone know that you've never listened to it before because you have no idea how it goes.
Shut up,
Hey,
Elijah.
Gabe.
What?
Gabe, go buy another lizard and shut up.
Yeah.
What is that? Why is that an insult? Why is that a funny insult? Elijah, you're an idiot. You guys are idiots.
This podcast.
He's my lizard.
Don't even know.
Yeah, the listeners are like, "What is happening?" The guys clearly haven't podcasted in a while. What's going on? Oh God, here we are. I will get my lizard out and show everyone. Anyways, we are here to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is gonna be a funny intro. I can already tell. Oh, the first three episodes are out, ladies and gentlemen. And if you are smart, you have watched all three in preparation for Wednesday's episode. It is going to be amazing. I'm pretty sure. Maybe. I don't know. We're halfway through the show. Barely anything's happened. I don't know. A few things have happened, a few cool things. We're going to be spoiling this heavily. So if you don't want to have your show spoiled, now would be a good time to skip to a different episode. Maybe from one of our sister podcasts. I don't know. But definitely don't listen to this episode if you don't want to get spoiled on Kenobi so far. I will say we are going to be adding timestamps into where the show starts from now on. So you can look at those in the show notes. Mikey's an idiot. You can look at where the actual review starts in the show notes, because we are going to be doing some catch up tonight for the group since we haven't potted in a while. And I'm pretty excited to do that. So definitely buckle up. We got a good show for you. I'm excited. Jake, let's start with you. What's been new in your world?
Not a whole lot. I haven't been doing much as of late. Just working, sleeping. Actually, yeah, I don't think I've done anything really. I haven't really been playing any games lately. Just been watching the shows. I will say I have missed podcasting a lot, especially this past week, knowing that we had something hammered down and that it was happening. I got really excited.
Yeah, and I think, whenever I think it's easy to be really gung-ho, about wanting to do something, and then you realize, oh, there's actually a lot of like planning that goes into trying to make this happen, and lots of schedules to coordinate around. And we're also busy these days, especially with how difficult it is getting to like make a living. It's like, man, this is what adulting feels like, eh? It's like we just got through, just got out of 2 years of COVID, and now I'm just pissing away my life savings. No, that's not what's happening, but it is expensive to even be alive right now. So don't take what you have for granted. Appreciate the small things in life, because they end up being a lot, being worth a lot. And this is one of those things to me, is podcasting. So I'm glad we're able to coordinate it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, my bad. I was gonna say, I will say we've been doing some hiking, getting outside more lately, and that's been really rejuvenating. It's been refreshing, just taking a little alone time and sitting by. We go out to Elijah's grandpa's. He's got some property out there. Just sit by the creek and let the dogs swim and grill some burgers out there while we're there, and it's been really relaxing.
Nice. That sounds really, that does sound really nice. I'm glad we've been able to, coordinate our schedules to make this happen. And I'm glad that you look forward to podcasting just as much as I do. And, the goal is to try and make this like now have like a 2-week break in between each episode that we record. And, there'll be other content trickling out, but, this show, I think it's good to have it, once or twice a month type thing, to make it a thing. But anyways, Jake, Elijah, what have you been up to?
Oh, not too much more than Jake has. Just kind of a whole lot of nothing. Just catching up on some shows and things whenever I can. I just started Stranger Things, so I'm going to see where that takes me. I think I'm halfway through the first episode. See where that goes. Excited for that. Other than that, I recently started working out, which is weird for me to say. That's about it. I got the pool open, swam for the first time last night. That was fun.
Nice.
But yeah, no new games. I'm excited for Modern Warfare 2 to come out. I'm ready to check that out. Other than that, it's been just kind of waiting until we get the group back together to do some recording.
Yeah. We put our first 3 episodes of
right.
Or not the first 3 episodes, but our prequel story of the RPG out. And that was kind of the last like straw really for me. Was I had a free day. I was the last day I had worked, or I'd worked my last day at the job I was working out. I was making car keys and stuff, and I quit that job. Even though I really, really liked it and the people were awesome there, and like they gave me, it's a really great opportunity, really great job, especially like for the time. But I just figured, long term, I think it was better to move away to something that I think that I want to try. So I've actually kind of like made strides to like build a business to give music lessons full time. So I'm kind of taking steps towards that. But my whole point in getting to there, if that was, kind of trying to weave some of my own personal stuff in. But I think being alive right now, like I said before, it's very easy to get kind of caught up in just doing like a whole lot of nothing. And, the time kind of passes by. But the last day I worked at that job, I got kind of like just this spark, this spark I hadn't felt in a while. And I think that was just kind of, that was kind of the sign. It was like, all right, I'm ready to start making stuff again. And I started with that. So I sat down and edited the rest of what was left of that session. It was like a 3.5 hour session that we ended up condensing down into like,
hour and a half, I think.
3 30-minute episodes.
Yeah.
And really, really like, how that kind of came together. And if anything, after listening to those episodes a few times, it's like, man, I cannot wait to get back together with the group and, start playing more with the core group. And we have Ethan Maestri. He's going to be coming in to do some stuff for a quest. We have Ryan Dalton. I've been coordinating with him on a quest that we're co-writing together. That's going to be really, really cool.
You said Ryan Dalton, right?
Yeah, Ryan Dalton.
You kind of glitched there.
Oh yeah. So Ryan Dalton. We're working on an idea for a quest that's going to come to the group. That's going to be really, really cool and probably like literally its own campaign altogether. But I'm excited. Mikey's expressed some interest about guesting, which is that's what I kind of like about this group. And doing like the RPG is like, really, as long as the core group is okay with something, sky is the limit, honestly. And Absolutely. It is by and far the most fun I've had working on a project in a while. And it was the perfect project for me to kind of dive back into, for me to like, kind of, like I said, kind of reignite that fire from that spark. And I'm so glad I did. Go ahead, Jake.
Right.
Can you, maybe I missed it, but can you tell us what Ethan's working on with you?
So yeah, I'm thinking I'm writing some quests for the group right now that is going to be heavily ship combat involved.
Really?
So cool. There's going to be an opportunity for the group to be running some spice, and I'd like to build these quests in such a way to where it's like literally you have to roll good as a pilot, you have to roll good as a gunner, you have to roll good as a mechanic if the ship gets, if the ship gets, definitely don't let Sierra roll. If the ship gets damaged, you have to roll for those things. And I'm excited. I'm going to tell you guys, we're going to be announcing a checkpoint system as well, like within the RPG in the future, where basically whenever you hit a big event, if you don't want to lose the current character you have and everyone agrees to it, everyone has to agree to it first of all, and you can have a checkpoint there. So, but if not everyone's in agreement, then you can't checkpoint. So that's going to be kind of an interesting mechanic.
Oh, so it's going to be a live action voting system to whether or not we're going to save or not.
Yeah, exactly. So looking forward to that. We're definitely, it's definitely, if you're kind of getting a vibe for it, it's definitely a homebrew D&D type sesh. And it's just a lot of fun. And I'm so glad that, we have the type of group where we can have these different elements and do this different stuff. And it just has me jazzed to get back together and play and record. And, I'm jazzed with this new schedule for Wanna Be Critic stuff. Every couple of weeks, every week we should have something coming out from different stuff. And that's cool to me.
I want to say as a point towards you, Gabe, Sierra is not a game player in any sort of fashion. And, but she's pretty psyched about starting this back up. She we were talking about it the other day and how much she likes it. So just wanted to bring that out to the point of how good of a storyteller and host that you have been so far. Okay, shut up. I was just giving you a compliment.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Elijah. There's the humble pie right there. It's one of those things. It's like, if it was me playing, what would I think would be cool? And it's kind of cool having Ryan. He sent me all of his character details and stuff like that. And it's you guys aren't ready. Like, I've told you more than I should, off mic about stuff, because Kyle Starway, aka Elijah, he's kind of the leader of the group. So I think it's fun sometimes to kind of just give him just a little hint. It's like, hey, just so you know, watch out for this. I don't give him exact details, but it's interesting watching the group, move forward and having like a distinct leader. But it's interesting also having Ryan Dalton wanting to come in and kind of do some more stuff, because he has a very detailed character profile. Is kind of what he was wanting to do with it. And it's like, okay, this, he's more of a numbers guy. I can tell already just by looking at his character sheet. Like, when he uses this weapon, he expects this to happen, and we've kind of talked about, the way we play and stuff, which is basically, if you can make an argument why you should have won a throw, and you can show me on paper why you should have won or whatever, and we can reason that way. But overall, it's like, unless you stop me from saying, but wait, what about this? You're gonna have to just roll with it. You know what I mean? So anyways, it's gonna be really cool. I'm excited. Also, there's going to be some cool stuff with Storytime. Storytime started out as like this narrative, like story, and that's what the RPG is going to be. But in between campaigns that are released episodically, we're going to have character backstories with dialogue and kind of tap into that. Like, each character is going to have like an origin story to like basically voice act and do their thing. I know we had kind of talked about that in the past, and I just didn't know a good way to do it until now. So, as core things come up, we will create kind of these like stories that are produced very much in the similar sense as to how Storytime was. So I'm really excited. I'm excited that everyone else is excited. But
I think all of our characters, especially, like we came into this prepared. Like, we came into with like a page worth of backstory, every one of our characters. So being able, already knowing what the character's backstory is and some of the plot twists and stuff in there, being able to have an origins episode like that is going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, per character, especially like, having like Jake's character Bumbu literally having blaster fire, being like, oh, like we have to get away, and like placing yourself in that scenario. It's just going to be a lot of fun, a lot of work, but a lot of fun. So definitely go check that out. But I've been playing a lot of Destiny too. Me and Mikey recorded an episode about Destiny. You can go check that out over on Game Club. And that's really all I've been doing in my free time, other than kind of pulling myself out of this slump of no content. I've just kind of been playing Destiny and thinking about what I want to do, and and I'm happy to be here recording. So that's kind of what's been going on in my corner of the world. Mikey, what's been up with you, man?
It seems like we've all been working out. I actually recently started working out for the first time ever. I started doing jogging and just hikes because I have all these trails at my house, literally like at my back door. So taking advantage of those, like Gabe said, playing Destiny. And I've actually been really thinking about getting into music a little bit. I haven't played any music in a long time, but I've been looking at some guitars, and for me, like that's my biggest thing. I have guitars. I have like 3 guitars, but they're all, if they say if you love your instrument, you'll play it more. I don't like any of the ones I have, and they're all like $50 to $100 guitars and stuff, which is okay. One of them was my dad, so I have sentimental value with it, but I've never had a guitar that's like mine. So I've been thinking about getting a guitar and like maybe just recording some stuff and messing around. I don't know, just for fun. But I've never really recorded anything either. So I've been thinking about it, but I've been looking up a lot of videos and stuff on that. But I don't know, just hobbies, nothing crazy, and then just day-to-day life, working, whatever.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, seems like each year that passes, my concept of time changes so much.
Yeah.
And it's like now the days are so short.
Yep.
It's like by the time we get done with this podcast, it's gonna be, it's gonna be past 10 o'clock, around 11 o'clock, maybe at the latest, at the time of recording this. What, Jake? Are you upset about that, Jake? Do you need to leave, Jake? I have to get up early too. I have to get up early too, Jake.
We're 44 minutes
early.
past. We're 44 minutes past his bedtime.
Well, you just have to suck it up.
I looked down and I was like, Jesus Christ, it's almost 10 o'clock already.
Yeah. Well, there's lots to be said about Kenobi. It was nice to at least just kind of sit down and talk about other stuff for a little bit. And, I'm glad that we are taking the time, even though we're busy. And hopefully this, tonight's been a good night to kind of rekindle the desire for everybody. It's like, no, like I want to make this happen. Like I want to be here every other week. Like I want it to be the event, and I want to see that. I want to see that episode, because there's no set time for whenever episodes drop. The feeling, it surprises me even. Like whenever I schedule an episode and I see that notification pop up on my Spotify, it's like, oh yeah, forgot about that, and then you listen to it and it's like, man, I'm glad I have this. It's a nice like cyclical hobby, because it's like you want to relive, especially if it's a really good conversation, being able to relive that conversation as like the host listening to it. It's like, oh yeah, like I forgot about that. That was pretty funny. Or to notice if like something got cut or whatever, for whatever reason. It's like, how did he? Oh, I see how he cut that, which I'm going to have to do because Jake's an idiot. Anyways,
Dummy.
It was
You're
nice to
gonna
catch
use all
up.
of it. That was
It
good
was
stuff.
nice to catch up. All right. It was nice to catch up.
What you said right there though about listening back, I'm going to talk.
Oh, you're being
is,
serious? Okay, go for it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm being serious. Is going back to Boba Fett. Man, those
Here
were
we go.
I freaking loved listening to those episodes once you released them. Being at work, just sitting there doing work, and then like listening to that for what, an hour and a half, and just laughing the whole time. That
Yeah.
was good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially whenever I punched the microphone. That was a good
That was a
moment.
good episode.
That was a good moment. I had a couple bourbons, I think.
Why is that not a TikTok reel?
I don't know, because I'm one guy trying to do this, and it's really hard to make
do
content
better.
for everything.
If
Well,
you
ladies
were
and gentlemen,
good, you'd have a lot
I
more
hope
good content.
I hope you enjoyed yourself on the podcast tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Kenobi sucks. No, just kidding.
Wow, here we go. All right, it's already starting.
Here
All right,
we go.
all right. We're
Here
moving into
it
Kenobi.
is.
Kid. We're moving. What for? No, just kidding.
What?
What? I know. Yeah. Okay. So Kenobi releasing week to week on Wednesdays. We're halfway through the show, gentlemen. We are halfway through what was supposed to be like one of the most hyped up things ever for Star Wars. Really,
I'm guessing you think it's not.
it's fine so
Here we
far.
go.
It is fine so far. And just to kind of like recap each episode, right? What happens in the first episode? We realize Obi-Wan Kenobi is a broken Jedi. He's a broken old man, just like Luke Skywalker was. And, just like what we saw happen to Luke, that was happening to Obi-Wan Kenobi. There was a shred of hope left, as, we saw him kind of like looking for Luke and, talking to Owen, being like, he needs to be trained. We got a look at the Inquisitors, the Grand Inquisitor, which, by the way, spoilers, heavy spoilers. Like I said before, if you don't want to be spoiled, leave. I would like someone to explain to me how it's okay for them to just break canon by killing the Grand Inquisitor, because I'm sure there's a detail I missed, and Elijah's smirking, so I'm sure he has an idea. Save it. We get to meet these Inquisitors and do our thing. I've read something about that particular race, that they have 2 stomachs, but where is he? Like, why isn't he here? Like, why isn't? Anyways, we'll get to it. So we see Inquisitors. We know we get, the episode ends with a look at Vader, right? All scarred and charred and burned and everything. We get like a flash of Obi-Wan's iconic lightsaber hilt. It's like, okay, he's really going to try and do this. Leia's been captured, so he's going to go try and rescue Leia. Then the second episode is basically just ferrying Leia through the, this place. And, we get to see Obi-Wan use the Force for the first time, right? He stops her from dying, which, was kind of a Fallen Order ripoff, but whatever. Then in the third episode, more of, Obi-Wan's trying to get Leia back to the Organas, to Alderaan. We meet one of the weirdest characters I've ever seen in Star Wars, the truck driver. He was like, "Hey, how's it going? My name's Idiot." Like, what the heck? And although one of the coolest scenes, and not that I like want to see someone get cut in half as like enjoyment, but one of like the coolest looking scenes, let's be real, is whenever that stormtrooper falls off the tower. It would have been better if they would have used the Wilhelm scream, whenever he fell.
Yeah.
That would have made it more like iconic Star Wars, in my opinion.
It would have been more like original Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. As he falls down and gets halved by the lasers, I was like,
Mhm.
that
was cool.
that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. It's just like cauterized, immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan makes a point to not use his lightsaber until he absolutely has to. He escapes to this town, to which he finds an Imperial officer that he was supposed to meet as like the contact to try and get Leia to the Organas. She ends up being like a double agent for the Empire, and turns out she's been helping for a while. One small detail is one of the people that was helping was Quinlan Vos, which
I have something about that later.
yeah, I want to know, because I was like, man, that is really rad that they are taking that character and saying, yes, he is alive here. Like it hasn't been that long ago that he was here and we could have seen him,
That is probably one of my favorite characters in Star Wars right now.
He's so
Quinlan
cool.
Vos.
He's so
He's an amazing character. He has so many layers to his character. I don't know. I don't want to get too far off subject, but I don't know if you guys read Dark Disciple.
about Ventress.
Ventress and him.
Yeah,
So that
really,
was
really
supposed-
cool.
It was a great book. That was supposed to be a story arc for Clone Wars. It was like a 4-episode story arc, and it never got aired because it got canceled by Cartoon Network. But after listening to that, I do a lot of audiobooks, and after listening to that book has made me appreciate that character so much more. I mean, his character in Clone Wars itself was awesome, but just in that book, so many layers. And I'll get to my predictions later, but I love that character.
Yeah, I mean, you should really do some digging if you don't know about like the relationship between Quinlan Vos and Ventress. Because I was, whenever I was like doing research for quests for the RPG, I was thinking about making Ventress, as someone that you guys would run into. Only Ventress died in that book, and it heavily talks about that. And it's like, man, what a cool character for sure.
Very cool.
But the biggest thing about episode 3, which I think we can all agree, and it's kind of funny that it's like episode 3, just like episode, like the actual episode 3 back in the day, is almost like a mirror of like Revenge of the Sith really was happening, like within that, with that third episode would have shown the Sith get his revenge, because Vader shows up.
The PowerPoints have dramatically flipped.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like Ewan McGregor talks about, because he hadn't seen Hayden Christensen in the suit for a while, and he talks about in an interview, he's like, yeah, when we shot that first scene where you see Vader, he's like, that fear you see on my face, that is real. He's like, I was genuinely scared, because Hayden Christensen in the suit, he's like 7 feet tall. Like, he's huge. He's like towering over Ewan McGregor. He's like, it was really scary. So go ahead. Oh, did you want to say something, Jake? Oh, sorry. I thought you were.
No. It was just cool to hear that.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And I think, I don't know why this is going to sound so sacrilegious. It was scary whenever he just showed up and just started, like killing people. Because at that point, we've seen Anakin, right? His face, like we can tell that's Hayden Christensen.
Mhm.
And to know that he's actually in the suit doing all of that, his mannerisms, just the way he's walking, like, that's him. I don't know why, but maybe they should have gotten someone else other than James Earl Jones to do the voice, because for me, it immediately sucked me right out of it.
Okay. This has been my time on the Wannabe Critic podcast, everybody.
I'm sorry.
I'll see you later.
Everyone
Really?
made such a big deal about this. And I hope there's more. I hope they fight again. But I mean, I guess it was more just like an intimidation factor. It's like, look, I'm way better than you, like way stronger than you. But it felt like I was watching machinima. Like, it was cool. Don't get me wrong. But it just felt like cosplay fighting to me.
Because of the voice or the acting or both?
Both. The whole dynamic. It's like he sees Vader, right? And he's like running away, doing, which I understand, that's fine. There was just something off about the area they were in, what was happening. Whenever he lights the stuff on fire and then pulls Obi-Wan, that sequence with the fire, that was cool, I thought, until he's like, I am what you made me. Like that is a cold line, but the delivery, it did nothing for me. I was like, oh, that's sad. But I didn't think about it beyond that. It didn't land for me. There was a element of what was that? Like, and I don't know why. And I'm not saying it was bad by any means. I'm not definitely, don't get me wrong. That was not bad, but I think it could have been way better for that first confrontation. I mean, what do you guys think?
Go ahead, Jake.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say, because I felt that to a degree, and I also didn't really. I don't know why, but so like the part where he's walking through the town and he's just snapping people's necks.
Yeah.
So like when he did that, I was like, oh Jesus, he's on a mission.
Yeah.
And then like you said, the part where he pulls him into the fire and was holding them there, I was like, that's hardcore. He's angry. But I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say, because now that you say that, that is how I felt, and I don't know why.
I know why.
Actually,
missing. I figured it out.
I want to hear what you guys have to say about it.
Before you guys say anything, because I could tell Elijah's judging me.
I'm not judging. I'm just trying to be quiet.
The moment where Ahsoka sees Vader and Rebels is a way better scene.
Why?
It evokes more emotion. And you know why? It's because Vader isn't saying like anything. He's just there. It's him, but it's almost like he's a zombie. It's like until his, mask breaks open. And, there's a few words there, but the vibe feels completely different. And I felt like there wasn't much emotional weight as there could have been. And maybe that'll come in later episodes. I'm just judging that particular scene in general. Like whenever he pulled Obi-Wan into the fire and we saw Obi-Wan get hurt, I was like, oh God, like I did not expect that. Right. But it was good, kind of symmetry from what had happened to him. And in that moment, it felt like Anakin was actually doing that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not Vader. It was actually Anakin that was like being malicious and really borderline unprofessional, in a similar sense as to like whenever he was on the council, but a general in the war. It's like, I don't want to say he was unprofessional, but he broke the rules a lot. He kind of went against the grain a lot. So it's not crazy to think that this, emperor's dog, whatever, wouldn't want to kind of like live it up a little bit while he has the chance, because nothing would be as sweet as killing this guy that literally changed his life for the worst, the absolute worst. And honestly, Obi-Wan's kind of a jerk for not killing him, like making sure he was dead. And that's something I think has kind of gone under the radar for a long time, but that was very un-Jedi to do that, in my opinion. So
Actually, I will rebuttal that. I think that's the very most Jedi thing that he could have done. To
really,
be quite honest, yeah.
I'll rebuttal that with the fact that to one of our previous discussions, I think it was in Boba Fett, we talked about it. Maybe Gabe brought up the point and how that's a flaw with the Jedi hierarchy. Is that, well, I'll leave it at that. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, killing him is what the council wanted him to do. And we already know the council's flawed. So him sparing his life is actually the most Jedi thing to do, because it goes along with all their principles. You don't strike out in anger. The guy was obviously defeated, if not going to die. He's not going to be able to do a whole lot for a long time.
do you think?
So,
I mean, that moment though, whenever Anakin's like, like yelling out in pain as Obi-Wan was walking away.
Yeah,
That is selfishness. That is selfish. I'm sorry, it is.
I was
like,
gonna
just
say,
to know it's too
'cause
painful to kill him, so you're not going to do it. That doesn't help anyone but Obi-Wan in that moment.
I was gonna say, doesn't that make it more cruel? He because Obi-Wan probably expected the lava to kill him, but that's kind of like more cruel than just ending
literally
quickly.
I don't think he expected to kill him. I really don't.
I don't think he expected the lava to kill him. I think he hoped it would kill him.
Yeah,
I don't think he was like, oh, he's for sure going to die. He's just like, I can't do it, so I'm going to leave him here, and nature's going to take its course.
I think the biggest thing that's going on with Obi-Wan right now is that he realizes, like I think all of us do, before they even started fighting, when they're still on the platform on Mustafar, Padme's still laying there doing whatever, they're talking. Before they started fighting, there was still a chance for Anakin to turn around. A huge chance. But the hypocritical thing that happened there was only a Sith deals in absolutes. That in itself is a absolute. So, and that was the flaw. I mean, and I think Obi-Wan at this point knows that. And I think that's why he's such a mopey, old man right now, is because he knows he messed up. He knows.
I do want to say too, like the buildup, that one line that and God bless Ewan McGregor, because he is a terrific actor. That moment whenever the new Inquisitor, whatever her name is, says she's like, oh yeah, Anakin's still alive. First of all, how does she know that? Second of all, whenever Obi-Wan starts realizing it, he kind of starts hearing all these like things from the past coming in. And then before that, he's like, he just says Anakin, he just kind of whispers it, and I'm like, that hit me hard. Like hearing all that nostalgia and like feeling all that stuff again. And I wanted that. They did such a good job of just nailing it subtly. I wanted that whenever he actually shows up and like does this thing, but it was like literally the equivalent of whenever in Force Unleashed, Vader shows up on Hoth to go talk to Starkiller, and he's like, Starkiller's like, you agreed to stay away, and Vader goes, I lied. Like that's kind of how I felt about like that transition between Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi a little bit. And again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying like
less is more.
Yeah, like it would have been way more chilling and way more interesting to have the same approach as how they did with Ahsoka. Like literally have them fight. Like have Vader like toy with him. If he,
that's yes.
Like that was missing. Like have Vader, it's already dark. He's already manipulating him. He's making him afraid. Why not like actually toy with him? And like, he's like has one hand tied behind his back and he just, deflecting everything. And then, like Obi drops his lightsaber and is like, he's like sweating, like he's visibly weak.
Which they kind of did a little bit. I did get that vibe when Vader was just walking and just holding the saber in one hand. He was just like,
literally.
They did do it, but to your point, I feel like they could have went further with it.
Where they messed up?
Where?
We have the ending scene to Rogue One.
Literally.
everybody wants to see that Vader.
Literally.
And the fact that he just sashays up to him, that's a cool moment. I'm not gonna lie, that is a cool moment. He walks out of the darkness. He should have immediately taken Obi-Wan's saber. Like, that's like first move, and then just ignites both of them, and then just forces him or something, like brings him straight to him or something. He didn't toy with him. He walked, like he just walked. Like, that's not what Vader would do.
Yeah.
Especially, go ahead, Jacob or Elijah.
Jacob.
Refresh my mind, Rick. What was the ending scene of Rogue One?
Where he just massacres like 40 people in one hallway. Nobody touches them. You don't remember that scene?
There's like black fog. Yeah.
He kills a poor young kid that's trying to protect his father, and his father still dies. And now the mother's just sitting there like, okay, I guess I'm by myself now.
He killed a lady for no reason. Right in front of her husband.
Yeah.
He didn't even say anything.
It's that is true to Vader's character.
Yeah.
That's the Vader that we know, that we don't know, that we know he's actually like, but we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is like, I'm having a hard time placing the Vader in the comics, like literally right after he becomes Darth Vader. I'm having a hard time placing him as being this same Vader we saw in Kenobi. It feels like an imposter. It feels like an imposter to me, because it just doesn't feel, at least so far. I mean, the guy hasn't said a ton of lines, but there's something obtuse about this portrayal, and it may be strange cuts. It may be, I don't know. Like, I can't put my finger on it yet.
I think, going back to your Ahsoka reference, I don't mind the James Earl Jones voice. I think he said too much during all of it. I don't think he should have said anything while he was doing the massacre. He had 3 Inquisitors there. They could have been speaking for him the entire time, or at least the head guy, and being like, you know what I mean? Like, and then the only thing I think he should have said is, "You did this to me." And that would have made that line so much more powerful, kind of just like, like a no or whatever, like, "I am your father." Like, that's what Vader is. He's powerful lines. And it muted it all with the walking around and just being like, "What's up?"
Yeah, literally. "What is up, Kyle?" Like, literally.
Basically.
Like, he's like, "I'm here." Like, come, let's fight. You know what I mean? Like,
all right, let's go.
It literally reminded me of like old machinima videos where you have this guy, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, here's Wolverine. And he's all, yeah, he's like, and all of a sudden Darth Vader shows up and he's like, "Let's go." It does not. I'm like, come on, man. We're halfway through the show. Do this in episode 1. Like, come on.
Yeah, to me, it felt like they could have went more PG-13 with it. It was almost like they were just crossing the line of PG-13. But if it would have been like PG-13, it would have been
what
better.
probably did it, honestly, is the laser in half part. If that wasn't in the show, they probably could have did a better Vader scene.
Yeah.
Then they probably were like, "Ooh, we could have got half earlier."
I don't know. I think the
neck breaking was pretty.
Neck breaking is a little worse.
I know, but they did all that before the Kenobi.
Like
fight.
they could only have so much or something.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I to me, the whole thing, like, I loved it. So I watched it the first time. I just turned my brain off, didn't think, and just watched it. And I liked it a lot. I didn't have any issues. But then once I started thinking about it from a more critical standpoint, it kind of felt like, not that this was what they did, but it came across like they were almost aiming it towards the casual Star Wars fans. Like,
bingo.
This is good enough. This is good enough.
Bingo.
So let me rebuttal that for a minute. So think about this. Think about the point in time. Let's go back to the beginning of our conversation here. Think about the point in time we're at right now. Obi-Wan is guilt-ridden. He has no idea Anakin's alive, but he's extremely guilt-ridden. There's a reason why he's been calling back to all those flashbacks and all those call lines that happened in the previous movies. He knows he messed up, in more ways than one, but specifically by, failing his best friend. And now he's got to look out after his kids from afar that are orphaned now, technically. he is a depressed individual that has no purpose in life anymore. So when his foe finally shows up and he realizes that Anakin's actually alive, that failure has just amplified tenfold.
Yeah.
Because now he's not only is he dead, now he's a tool of evil. So kind of going back to my previous thing about Quinlan Voss, by hearing him say that his dear friend Quinlan is alive and is helping, get these young Force users out, and now Obi-Wan's injured. They're taking him to this planet where they supposedly take all these Force users to start a new life.
Dathomir?
Who do you think? It's not Dathomir.
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I don't remember. It's like it's too. That was another thing. The planet's name's like too close to Jedi. It was really weird. But
Jeddah?
Yeah, no, it's not Jeddah. It was something else.
Oh,
Jeddah's destroyed, or not? No, Jeddah wouldn't be destroyed yet. But anyway, who do you think's going to be waiting there for him on the planet when he shows up? Quinlan. Quinlan's going to be there because so now we are going to see the transformation, and this is my prediction in these upcoming episodes between this Obi-Wan that we're seeing now, this weakling that didn't make a very good scene with Vader. He's going to meet his friend. He's going to get some encouraging words. He's going to get a kick in the butt, to be quite frank. And then he's going to turn into the Obi-Wan that kills Darth Maul in Rebels. That's going to be the flip. And then we're going to have the Vader and Obi-Wan moment that we want at the end of the show.
What if whenever Quinlan is trying to help him, it's putting so much stress on Kenobi that his hair turns white?
Oh,
we're going to see white-haired Kenobi by the end of this series. I'll bet y'all $10.
But does that seem too far off?
I don't think. I mean, why would they mention Quinlan? Like, the average Star Wars viewer isn't going to know who that is.
Yeah, and they're not going to know the relationship between the two. I mean, going back to that book, Dark Disciple, if you truly read that book, like, the relationship between those two individuals is strong. They grew up together. They know each other intimately. Intimately enough where Obi-Wan goes out of his way to try and save his friend from the dark side, and Quinlan was going to get executed in that book.
Mm-hmm.
Mace Windu was going to kill him, but Obi-Wan came up to bat and saved his friend. So, I mean, this is now Quinlan's opportunity to repay that favor.
That's a really good point. I mean, it would make sense, in my opinion. Or who's waiting for him at the planet? It could be Vader.
Yeah, now they're
could
connected to the Force.
It could be Vader. It could be Vader.
Vader won't be there before he gets there, but I mean, he would possibly show up. That would make sense. Because they're connected.
Leia has been captured by the Inquisitors, so it would have made sense for. I mean, she didn't even have to question Kumail, what's his face, is the fake Jedi guy. She got the information right out of him, so she could have done the same thing to the pilot, and she could go. I mean, I don't know. They're setting up.
I don't think she's that smart though. That character does not seem that intelligent.
I think
to me.
Oh, I was gonna say I think it'll be Reva that's on the planet, not Vader. If either one of them are there.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Why are they spending so much time on her? Go ahead, Mikey. Sorry.
I doubt they even go to that planet.
Really?
Highly. Yeah. Why would he go to the planet that she killed the pilots of, that he knows he can't get to? Like, how is he going to get there? Who's going to take him? Like,
the Imperial officer is going to take him. She went back for him and saved him.
Yeah, but I mean, if her cover's blown and also her pilot's cover's blown, they'd know where they were going to go. So I
don't know if her cover's blown.
Yeah, her cover. She was sniping from the shadows.
Yeah, I don't think her cover's blown.
That's true, but still, I
think she's safe.
Yeah, but I mean, at least Reva knows. So I mean, and then she tells everything she knows directly to Vader. I don't know.
See, I don't think she's that smart. Honestly, I think she's so power hungry that she's not thinking things through.
I mean, that's why she would go directly to Vader.
She might try to pull things out of Leia. But Leia's extremely powerful on the Force. I don't think she's going to give anything up.
You think they'll go super powerful Leia this early though?
I mean, look at the escape scene. I mean, I know Gabe hates the chase scene with Flea. Can we talk about Flea for a second? What the heck?
No,
that's a weird.
no,
that's a weird
I
cast.
like Flea.
He's like,
I like Flea, dude.
"You're gonna come with me, little girl." Like that's Flea. He's always Donnie
Dude,
Thornberry.
Flea, I think he does a good job. Imagine coming across him in a freaking alleyway,
Yeah,
like with a knife. I'd be terrified.
he played the role. I think
He
that
did
was
good.
that was the wrong character choice for that
Yeah.
character. But I mean, he played his character good. But I mean, we that with that chase, we see her abilities. Like she's shining. She's
That's
definitely
why
shining at
I'm
with
torn
the
from
Force.
that scene because of that. That's why I'm torn like with it, because part of me was like that it was showing that she's Force sensitive, but then at the same time I was like,
Yeah.
It was
something
unnecessary.
about it felt just kind of like Sesame Street type thing.
Yeah.
Literally.
What did I say, Gabe, in that text thread that we had a few days ago? That this show is going to show that maybe Leia's not the one. Maybe Luke's not the one that should have been focused on. Maybe Leia should have been the one that was focused on because she's stronger. But I mean, the roles worked out in the end, obviously. But
Yeah.
maybe we could see a different perspective of,
All I
another
see-
another one of Obi-Wan's failings.
Do you
All I
think
see
they'd
in
go
that
that
text
way?
thread, this is what Lige said. He's like, "Gabe, I'm really sorry that I've been such an idiot on the podcast. You've been right about
There we
everything
go.
the whole time."
Yeah, I was really surprised. Said,
Yeah,
Gabe, you're always right.
Yeah,
Pixar
Jake,
didn't happen.
Jake, you were there. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw it. I got screenshots. I
yeah,
got
he has
Wow.
straight up screenshots, not
Yeah.
edited at all.
That's messed up.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I like that the show is setting up so many question marks. I just feel like we're gonna be let down
Oh yeah, we will.
because of
Cool.
the first 3 episodes we've gotten. They've given us morsels of actual content in every episode. Morsels.
I don't think it'll be a bad show. I think it's going to be a great show, but we will have questions still at the end.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel like they made such a big deal about the first 2 episodes airing, which, and I guess anything's possible. We could get a second season of this show. Like, I guess
Maybe.
anything
That'd be
is
nice.
possible.
That'd be nice.
But to me, it's like, okay, the first 3 episodes of Mandalorian versus the first 3 episodes of this show.
This show.
Are you? No.
Yeah, this show.
No
Wait,
way.
Wait, what'd you say, Gabe? Say it again.
The first 3 episodes of the first season of Mandalorian versus the first 3 episodes of this show. You're really going to pick this show over the Mandalorian?
I'd
Yes,
definitely
I-
pick
absolutely.
Mandalorian.
Not.
Well,
Oh, I'd pick Mandalorian too.
so
every time.
So
100%.
I would need a refresher on. I have a terrible short term memory. on what
Okay,
the first
here, let me
episodes
let me
are.
jog your memory. Okay,
It's very good.
episode 1 of Mandalorian, the snow planet where the guy gets cut in half by the door. You see all these different alien races. This new guy, we have no idea who he is. We see him completely murk everybody, get his bounty, fish monster, whatever, the carbonite, like the callbacks, everything.
Okay,
In
yeah.
episode 1, this weird job he has to get with the IG unit. He goes and sees it, and he sees a little hand reaching out. Like, holy
It's
crap!
all in the first episode.
That's the first episode.
Okay.
That you don't get 5 cool things like that in the first 3 episodes of this show.
So
One of the
But you're-
dopest.
you're-
Yeah.
You're calling something blue black. I mean, it's two different
Well,
things.
I know,
Yeah.
but why isn't it not hitting the same way
so
that Mandalorian is
To me,
hitting?
it's hitting
here's-
to me even on bigger levels for me. But because,
so-
but I guess not saying that you guys aren't thinking about it, but I'm more of a thinker. Like everything that's happening, I'm thinking about what it it signifies.
So
Yeah.
here's my thought on it is we've and I
Well.
think you're the one, Gabe, who's touched on this before in a past episode, is in my opinion, this conversation kind of shows it depends on I guess I don't have a good way to say it. My first thought is, what Star Wars fan are you? What are you interested in? And it's, to me, it's kind of like, I guess I can't, I have to think about how to say it to get my thoughts across correctly.
While you're thinking about that, one of the biggest problems with this story and Clone Wars and basically all the stuff referencing back to the original trilogy the writing has to be good. So like think of that Ahsoka scene where it's just like you can feel the tension. You know that there's crap going on. The writing, the way they like stage the whole thing, like the over arc of what's going on around them, it's awesome. Take away the character that you like, Elijah, and just think about the story and how much plot armor there is around literally everybody involved. What story has been told so far? Like,
I mean, but see, that's the thing. That's you kind of just answered your own question. Is like, without these characters, this show doesn't exist. So I mean,
yeah, but like, what has progressed?
Yeah, and I think I want to piggyback off you, Mikey, because Mikey has the point, in my opinion, and I am by no means saying that Kenobi is a bad show or a shallow show.
No,
I'm saying it is a missed opportunity to. Okay, for instance, the optics. Let's just take everything Mikey said and make it way more simpler. Let's just take the optics. You cannot have, in my opinion, a very rugged Obi-Wan Kenobi doing his thing, whatever, and then show Leia completely just like waltz away from two grown men. I'm like, just grab her. Like, what are you doing? Like, she's right there. Pick her up. What are you doing? And it's like, we're like walking around like cartoon characters, like it's supposed to be like a 1970s cartoon. I'm like, she's right there. Pick her up. What are you doing? They eventually get her, whatever. Okay, yeah. That's another point. They eventually get her. So why not show her, like, I guess you don't want to hurt the princess or whatever, but it's like, make it seem more grounded. Like, make the optics match.
Who are you talking about exactly in that scene? Just grab her.
The two guys that are chasing her.
Yeah, just the whole chasing in general.
Yeah.
The kidnappers?
Yes. Like, it is like a parody almost of how just weird I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying anyone's performance is bad. I'm saying it looks weird.
I mean,
who directed these episodes, the first two?
I think it's Deborah Chow.
And just think about
right.
Oh yeah. Okay. So just think about the writing of that. It's like, you literally want to give her like the easiest out of. Her parents are the most irresponsible people of all time. They literally let her, she says it in the show. She's like, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
You let Princess Leia, who is like one of the most dangerous people in the entire universe,
your only heir. Like,
yeah, who you are risking your life to hide, and
literally.
you're gonna let the reins fly loose like that.
Yeah, she's
fine.
No big deal.
There's a reason though she's on Alderaan. No one wants anything to do with Alderaan. It's a small planet.
Well, they obviously do now.
Well, only because Rava or whatever her name is, found the connection.
Yeah,
that's the only reason. But she hasn't found the true connection.
I feel like they painted that pretty clear too. That they obviously they knew the significance of who she was, but like to Elijah's point, they're on a planet and they were probably like, well,
and it's not that it's not that big of a planet. I mean, Alderaan is one of the smallest systems in the whole Republic.
Even if that's true, though, she's the freaking princess.
Yeah. Well, and another thing too is they literally opened the first episode of this show with kids getting killed. So all of a sudden, it's not cool to just grab Princess Leia. You have guys who are like, like looking like Adam Sandler walking around. It's like, grab her. She's right there. Like,
yeah.
Just to play devil's advocate, Gabe, to a point you brought out in Boba Fett. At what point do you have to kind of say, well, they're giving the director, this is what we wrote, take care of it. And they come back with something and they're like, really? That's what you did with it.
The one thing I will say, one thing I will say against that is the same director directs the entire series. All 6 episodes is by Deborah Chow.
What episodes of Boba Fett did she do?
And she's pretty renowned.
I could tell you. Hang on.
I'm looking it up. Go ahead, Elijah. I got your back.
So I mean, I think that this whole chase scene thing, this is not going to be like the pit bikers from Boba Fett. Only because the same director is directing. She has a vision for what this is. And I could be wrong, and I will gladly come on the podcast before the show even starts and apologize and say how wrong I was. But I think this chase scene has a purpose. It seemed, you're right. It seems too goofy to be put in, but I think just for the main fact that the same woman has the same vision throughout all 6 episodes, they can't do something dumb like this and not make it have a purpose. It's going to make, I think it's going to make sense eventually.
I hope it does. And I hope you're right. I'm just saying, just within the context of everything we've seen so far, it is very optically confusing. It's like, and it's a pacing issue. That is the thing. It's like, I'm taking not just that one chase scene, which is goofy looking. There's no denying that. I kind of wrote it off. I was like, yeah, whatever. I wasn't that big of a deal. This is just one instance, to make the argument is you open the show with Order 66 happening. No issue there. It's like, okay, yeah, that's what happened. 10, 15 minutes later, we see this weird chase scene. The next episode 2, we don't really see. Episode 2 is just whatever. I mean, there was some comedic relief, with Kumail, whatever his name is.
We got the clone trooper too, the 501st.
Yeah, that was cool. That I liked seeing that. That was cool. That was a nice callback. And
I think he recognized Obi-Wan.
Probably
because that's Anakin's regiment. That was a 501st trooper.
Yeah.
And I think the way that he looked at him, I think he recognized him.
I think you're right.
That wouldn't be Commander Cody, would it?
No. Cody was a 31st division, I think.
Yeah, Cody. Yeah.
I kind of like.
First was that Rex and
501st was Rex. Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of like the idea of that he didn't recognize him just because he's just like
hammered.
Just so not hammered, but just like so like I see so many faces every single day asking for money. I don't even care. Just give me something.
I kind of thought about like a old computer that's like kind of on its way out a little bit.
Yeah,
like antiquated technology.
Yeah. I mean, he'd be like 60 or 70.
Yeah, literally. Like he's like antiquated, and he's just, on his way out.
Commander Cody was the 212th division. Just to clear that up real quick.
And look, I know it seems like a lot to focus on. It's a bigger issue. And this is why I'm not getting my hopes up for the rest of the series, is because you've made pointed decisions to do strange things. It's like, I'm confused. Is this because there are moments where it's like where he's chasing, I'm like, oh, well, that's for the kids. I'm like, but wait a minute. They just sunned like 20 kids like 10 minutes ago. So that makes no sense. This is PG-13 for sure. So why don't we just make it PG-13? Like grab her, in episode 3, with the neck snapping and the whatever, I'm like, oh, this is kind of dark, which it's like child's play compared to what we've been seeing on Stranger Things. But right, like, good Lord, that's a whole other episode. Well,
I was pretty shocked. I want
to go through that whole series like for this podcast, once the Star Wars stuff kind of calms down, like a rewatch per season.
That'd be fun.
But anyways, I want to like this show so bad, but I have literally because they have been hyping this up way more than any other Star Wars property that I can remember. Like more than The Mandalorian, more than Boba Fett. Like they have been hyping this thing up for so long.
They hyped up Boba Fett pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think Disney's hyped up this show. I think everyone else has.
Yeah,
everyone else has.
I'm just saying, pretty quiet about it.
Well, look, you haven't seen. No, here's the thing. They've been releasing press. There's been press releases. There's been interviews with Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor is an executive producer on the show.
Yeah,
he has been there. There's been more of a presence in the media and in the press for Obi-Wan Kenobi. They didn't interview Tamora Morrison in the same way that they were interviewing Ewan McGregor for the Boba Fett show. It's not even.
But
close.
That's the difference. It's Ian McGregor, and
that's not what we're talking about. Like the trailers, the TV spots, and all that. There was very little.
Yeah. That's bad communication on my part. So everyone else has been hyping this stuff up. Someone just fell. That was weird. Everyone else has been hyping this up, and I think that's what gets me excited, or I have to watch a trailer. I don't even really watch trailers anymore because I don't want to see anything. I don't want to have anything tarnished, nothing. So to see Ewan McGregor talking in interviews and being present and saying yeah, it's going to be great. I think this is going to be something fans really, really love and blah, 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 blah. That's cool. that speaks more volumes to me than having a trailer drop. Like that is what gets me. That's what keeps me from having a hard time from like keeping my expectations tempered. Like it's really hard for me to like keep my expectations in check when I see so much press for a show like that creates all this hype and generates all this buzz and all this speculation. Go ahead.
So then at what point do we draw the line curbing your expectation compared to what they're hyping us up for?
And that's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The whole problem with especially the interviews that you saw, I watched those. I know what they were doing. They don't talk about, oh my gosh, this story is going to be so grand. They're hyping up the final episode of the battle with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because that's what everyone wants to see.
Exactly. As soon as you put Hayden Christensen and Ian McGregor in the title,
that is the problem.
That is exactly what I am saying.
I
have no expectation
how is
for
it
the
a
show.
problem, though?
Why not make it a movie? Why make it an entire series? And
we're us as a culture now. We don't want movies. We want stuff. We want hour and a half episodes. We want 6 mini movies.
Disagree about that. I am a movie guy.
See, I am too, but it's just as a culture we're in that Netflix. Like I want to binge it. I want a lot of it, and I want to take some time.
I think that's because of how many of the movies that bombed. They were probably afraid to make a movie. Where it's just
it seems like a bigger gamble to make a 6-part series that has an hour and a half episodes almost every other episode.
Yeah, but what's a gamble is like stick to the point, like stay on point. Like,
yeah,
there's I'm watching these first 2 episodes and I'm like, what is this adding? What does the second episode truthfully, what does having a fake Jedi, what does it add? That's my question.
You got to think. You have to. I got it too, and it's just like what I said in my prediction. You got to think about this. This is Obi-Wan's show. This is not the Obi-Wan and Darth Vader show. This is not the Obi-Wan and the Inquisitor show. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi's show, and this is actually something I really like about this. So far, it's still Obi-Wan Kenobi's show. It's not the Mandalorian show. It's not it's staying true to itself. So, I mean, all these other things are happening and they are building something that's going to change Obi-Wan Kenobi into Ben Kenobi, from Obi-Wan. He's called Ben, but now he's going to be old man Ben. And he's going to be the one that Luke looks up to. He's not that guy yet. Something has to happen.
You're right.
You're not that guy, pal.
So,
you're not that guy.
You're not that guy.
You're speaking my language. This is where the root of the problem comes from. This is why I'm not excited. Is because they're going to build to a moment at the end of this show where it's like, and then this is how we got here. Like, boom.
And you don't want
that. No, I do want that. But I'm not going to get that. If they continue doing what they've done, they have 2 episodes to make it feel earned.
3. They got 3.
The last episode, I mean, it would actually be kind of cool if like his hair started turning white while he fought Vader. That would be
highly doubt
cool.
That's going to happen.
That'd be kind of cool. What I've seen out of these first 3 episodes to me is like, I hope there's a point to all of this. Why we spent an hour or 45 minutes in each of these locations for whatever. And it'll be very telling whenever we get to that last episode, we watch it. And then whenever we go through the entire thing again, it's like, yeah, what was this? I watched every episode of Boba Fett 2 or 3 times. And it was like, oh my God, this was cool. This was cool. This was cool. And then famously, when we got to the last episode, I'm like, me and Lige disagreed on this. Obviously. I mean, we talked in ad nauseum about it. I don't want a repeat of what we got in Boba Fett. I want it to be a unanimous, everybody loves this. I don't want it to be polarizing. I want it to make sense. I want it to be like what Revenge of the Sith was. And then you start, Rogue One, and then you go to New Hope, and like there's connective tissue to all of these big properties. and I want it to make sense, and I want everyone to unanimously be like, yeah, I don't even want to have to bring up these things that I cannot help but bring up. I don't want to have to bring up how weird it is, like whenever Leia's running away and doing all this stuff. Like, I want it to all make sense and be cohesive. That's it. Go ahead, Mikey.
You know how they could fix that?
Tell a good story.
Don't have this show at all.
Yeah,
So
that is true.
So here's because Gabe, actually, you said something that I agree with. Is that's kind of what I've been asking from episode 1 is what's gonna be the point of this show? And I've asked that question, and a few people, all they've said is, well, it's showing how Kenobi reconnected with the Force. And it's like, okay, that's fine. The issue for me there, though, and for me personally, what would solve all of this? Make it a longer season. Don't give us just
6 episodes.
You don't have to give me a second season. Give me a 10 episode season.
Yes.
Develop it. And that's my whole issue is, okay, if you just want to show how Kenobi reconnected with the Force, I'm fine with that if that's all we're getting from it. But don't do it in 6 episodes.
Yes. And that is where the context of all of my issues, that is, you nailed it right on the head. That is where all of my issues are coming from, is like, you had 6 episodes to do this one thing, and you're showing us what's her face running away like a goober and having us wasting screen time on this. It's like, get to the point, smash those first 2 episodes together, give us a streamlined version, give us Vader in the 2nd episode, give us 2 episodes of development. Like, give us
so much. Go ahead, Mikey. Sorry.
It should be a 3-part series. It shouldn't be a 6 episode. For what they're trying to do, and they got too much time in there.
There's way too much to unpack around Kenobi, everything around Kenobi to do in 6 episodes.
Yeah, which I mean, granted, they could release comics, they could do all kinds of stuff. They could fill in all the gaps, and I will be there for it. But I will always say, yeah, these comics are cool, but you missed a golden opportunity. A company that literally has infinite money and time and resources, you gave Boba Fett, a glorified B character, more episodes than you gave a fan like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Even does not compute.
Even diehard fans are going to prefer to see this take place on screen than in a comic.
Yep. I agree.
And I feel like that's it. Like, because like to your point, sure, release comics, release books. That's awesome. At least you gave us something. But if you're going to go back to an iconic, a central character of Star Wars, put it on screen, especially if you're actually doing it. If you are going back on screen, why calm down? Why are you giving us only 6 episodes?
Yeah. And if they do, there's been rumors of like Clone Wars flashbacks, which would be amazing. Don't think it's going to happen. Yeah. Would be amazing. They're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't, in my eyes, a little bit, because if they do something awesome, like truly great in these last 3 episodes, I'm going to be like, why didn't you do this 2 episodes sooner? Like, I don't know. It's going to be tough. And I'm obviously we criticize Star Wars into the ground, and I am not saying this is a bad show. I've never once said that. I'm saying I hope it's not a disappointment. And what I'm seeing so far is I think we're going to get a few morsels of cool things that are going to leave me wanting. And I don't know. Like, I hope I'm making sense. There's just a lot of this is a really like important franchise to a lot of us, because we grew up with this stuff, and like we're seeing this hero again and like all this stuff, and we want it to be good. Like, and I love seeing Ewan McGregor on screen as Obi-Wan Kenobi, but there's been multiple times where I'm like, you don't remind me of Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, at all, which is kind of cool. Like old man Kenobi a little bit, but he missed a perfect opportunity. Even whenever the truck driver shows up, he goes, hello. And I was perfectly expecting, I'm being perfectly honest, I was expecting him to say hello there. We all want him to say that. Why? Yeah. Like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much fan service that could be delivered in so many ways. And you don't have to go overboard with it. But literally, it feels like this show has been birthed out of a meme or a set of memes. Literally, like everyone wants to see Obi-Wan Kenobi come back and do this stuff, but I just don't know that it's going to be this glorious, grandiose thing that we want it to be. I could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong in 3 weeks from now. Go ahead.
I think a good, I don't know. I always have ideas of different ways they could tell a story. Everybody does. But like for me, I keep thinking about this every time because I've watched the first couple episodes several times. If it wasn't Leia and he was just rescuing some Jedi Force sensitive kid from Tatooine, because that's why they're there. That's why those guys are there. They're hunting Jedi and Force sensitive people. Why don't they just run with that? And that's why he leaves the planet, and then he would still do the same. He would have to be on that same trail and he would end up in the same spot to meet Vader. Why does Leia have to be part of it? It's never nodded to in the original trilogy that, oh, she wanted this grandiose adventure with Obi-Wan. She does send him the message and she does know how to get in contact with him. I do get that. That is I'm sure somebody would make that point, but she could easily know he's alive from her parents because it's obvious that they're pretty open and she already knows they're not her parents. So I'm sure like I don't know. I just don't think she needs to be in it personally.
Same. And I think if there's something that makes it worthwhile, because really the plot is about her saving Leia.
Yeah, it's very uninteresting.
It's sad. It's
plot
sad.
armor.
It's sad that I agree with you.
Yeah. Because think about it. If it was a kid, he could die at any moment.
Yep.
Like,
literally.
or if it's a full-grown person or something, or it's another Jedi.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
he
what if
came.
it was,
yeah.
Like,
I mean, he came in contact with that one Jedi, that was on Tatooine. But like, yeah.
That's what makes it worth it, though, is that it's such a central character that he's going after. But in my opinion, I personally, even with it being, I find it more interesting that it is Leia that they're choosing, because I mean, at least on screen, aside from what have we gotten with Leia, especially young Leia.
That's true.
And also to Elijah's point, I personally don't necessarily think this is where they're going to go, but to Elijah's point, they are focusing on Leia. What if they do decide to go that route and show, well, maybe Leia should have been the one over Luke?
Yeah, but then they can't reveal her. They can't reveal her to Vader no matter what. So like, even if she does have Force powers, it doesn't matter because it's like we already know how the story goes. He doesn't know she's alive until way later.
Go ahead, Jake.
Side
question, real quick, Ledge. This probably doesn't have anything to do with it. I'm just curious. Do we know how old Leia was when she actually did train as a Jedi for a little bit?
It would have been after Jedi, so
mid-20s,
late 20s.
Yeah, late 20s.
And when was it that Vader finally actually realized that both of them were alive?
I don't know.
I don't know if Vader ever really made the connection until after he died that Leia was his daughter. I think he just knew he had one.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
He knew Luke, but he
knew Luke.
They never blatantly said anything about Leia.
He would have seen it. He would have seen it. He would have seen it at the celebration though. That's
what I was saying. Until after he died, he would not have known that Leia was his daughter. He knew that that he had a daughter up until he died. Those short moments before.
Yeah,
but Vader never comprehended that Leia was his daughter.
That makes so that would be cool. Sister. Yeah, that would be cool at the last episode if they're like, oh, she does use Force power, and he's gonna kill her now because he has no idea that that's his daughter. That would be interesting. But
what I think this whole story is, this is not your typical Star Wars story. This is not a start to finish. This happens, some stuff blows up, and then everyone's happy at the end. This is not a show like that. This is a deeper meaning. This show is going to make you think. To me, this is how it's coming off. Like every little thing that has happened so far, even the minute details, the stuff that we could we don't need to see it. I feel like has a purpose, because I really think that what this is going to focus on is how Obi-Wan is a failure. That this is what the show is about.
Yo, what if he's thinking past tense about all the stuff about how he actually redeemed himself? And that moment in A New Hope when he closes his eyes, that is him thinking about everything we're seeing. It's like, oh, I failed Anakin. Actually, though, like there is a hope because of me. That would be dope.
That would be kind of dope.
Like literally, like
That'd be
he
cool.
like opens his
Cool
eye,
route to
like
go.
yeah, like I don't know that something. If something epic does not happen regarding Obi-Wan's future, as seeing Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, it has to be amazing. That's what I'm saying. Unless we're gonna get more, it has to be iconic.
I think we'll get it.
I hope we
really
do,
do.
because nothing we've seen so far. I'm gonna make a hot take for you. Absolutely nothing we have seen so far has been iconic. Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting. I mean, Obi running away.
It wasn't a fight. Yeah.
Yeah. There's been nothing iconic, and we're halfway through the show. I'm ready to see some iconic stuff with this show. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So you're expecting something like actually iconic from the show?
If this is all we're ever getting, and we don't get something iconic, that's a problem.
Yeah, I agree.
Boba Fett rolling in with his Rancor and doing his thing.
That was iconic.
That is iconic. That is a moment we will never forget.
We're gonna have.
I don't know. I guess
there will be something.
I mean, that would be great. I guess I just didn't have that expectation from the show. I didn't expect something iconic to come from the show.
One of my biggest things is I'm going to be very upset if they don't do it. You guys have finished Clone Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of you? Okay. So the scene when Obi-Wan faces Darth Maul on Tatooine and he changes stances. If he has old man Obi-Wan stance when they square up, I am going to be furious. He has got to have the Clone Wars stance, or I am going to, like he's got to be freaking ready. Like that, there's going to be small thing. I'm not looking for iconic moment. I'm looking for like, this is Obi-Wan. He's still who you think he is.
And if we get a reprise of the best duel for sure in Star Wars history, in my opinion, I used to think it was Darth Maul versus Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan.
Whole episode long better be.
If it literally, I'm dead serious. Like,
yeah, it kind of.
That's how long that fight is. It's like
have.
25 minutes of them just fighting.
Yeah,
it should be better than the original fight.
Yeah,
and if they fight, Vader has to lose. How epic would it be if like the rematch ends the same way the first time it ended, where like literally Vader tries something
cut off?
Yes,
yeah.
Vader. I mean, his limbs are already gone. So what?
Dude,
if
imagine and his helmet's off again, and he's just like, "Oh my goodness, that would be pretty cool."
The stuff that we're talking about right now. This is the stuff that Dave Filoni's like, yeah, man, that would be awesome if I was doing it, because that's
I was gonna say, yeah,
literally,
that's
what Dave Filoni would do. And look, Filoni saved Star Wars. Why you don't have his thumbprint on everything that Star Wars has now baffles me.
He might not want it though.
That's true.
He's doing so much, he probably doesn't have time.
It's true. It's true. But still, having these conversations gets me excited, but I'm not going to let myself stay that way, because this is the Wannabe Critic podcast, and we got to like call stuff for what it is. Like, even if we disagree, it's like, no, this is how I feel, and this is why. It's not just some like baseless opinion. It's like, these are the facts. This is a show. This is an optical, this is optical entertainment. And if something doesn't match up, if it's not executed right, I'm going to call it out. Even if it is a cute little girl running away. Like, that's what, whenever I saw that scene, I was like, okay, I'm going to try to focus on this. In the back of my mind, I was like, oh my God, what was that? Like, and it's caused me to look at the show from a critical eye now, from every time I watch it. Like, it's frustrating. I wish I wasn't that way, but I am.
I think that's where I feel different than you. Is I didn't go into this show. I didn't expect to get something iconic from it. I expect to get something notable and exciting and good, but not quite iconic. And I feel like that's where I have a hard time. That's where I'm drawing the line with some of the stuff that you guys, or at least you, Gabe, are saying is I don't expect it.
What one of the things about like you saying that, Jacob, is like, okay, you don't want anything iconic, or you're not expecting anything iconic, but they have Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Leia, her parents. It's like, but it's Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and there's nothing about Obi-Wan Kenobi in it except like his feelings that we're supposed to, like Elijah was saying, we're supposed to think about it. Why don't you just freaking show us or
Literally,
tell us something?
literally.
Like,
Yes.
don't let us. I appreciate stories like that. I'm not like saying like I'm that shallow, but it's just like I do like thinking about things and
Same.
stuff like that. But it's like, what do I got to go off of?
That's
Okay,
exactly how I felt.
Okay, what are we doing? Okay, he's processing meat. All right, cool. He's living in a cave. Sweet. Where's the meaning in this?
Well, yeah, and look, I think it's, I'm a thinker too. Like, I think about a lot, like just in terms of imagery, like you have to convey stuff other than just what's surface level, and showing is a big thing. For me, it was like, oh, this guy is barely scraping by. Literally, this guy's barely scraping by. He's kind of fallen into the day to day. He's probably gotten kind of accustomed to that. Maybe
That's
he
what I
wants
was
to,
thinking.
maybe he wants to train Luke, but he's like, actually, like, I'm kind of content. He doesn't.
I was like,
look,
he seems
doesn't
like
look-
he's
yeah,
chilling.
He doesn't look dour or downtrodden or anything. Like he's just living life, doing his thing.
Food every day, decent job.
And I think, that story of maybe this is what I want to do, but this is what I have to do. I'm a Jedi. I have to do this. I want to see that more come to the fold, and subtly. Like for instance, whenever we get that shot of his lightsaber, it's a subtle nod to like old cinema of there's the samurai sword. You know what I mean? Like there it is. It doesn't have to be drawn all the time. It harkens back kind of to like the OG trilogy a little bit, especially with Empire. It's like, this is an elegant weapon. If you use it a lot, it cheapens it.
Civilized time.
Yeah, literally. If you use it a lot, it cheapens it. It cheapens the effect.
That's a good point too that you brought up, Mikey. I guess now that I'm thinking about it, is okay, cool. You're doing a good job of showing us how Kenobi is torn, how he's defeated, how he's in a dark place. But I guess now, now that I'm thinking about that, you say that is okay, cool. But you brought back Kenobi, and Vader, so show us something. That does make sense.
Yeah, and they did in this third episode. The whole discussion started out of, did this thing hit? Did this hit the way they wanted it to? It scared me for sure. Like that moment whenever Obi-Wan's getting burned, I was like, oh God, this is intense. Like that was cool. Whenever he shows up and he's like, here I am, like it felt weird. It just felt weird to me, and it concerns me about what are we going to get in the rest of this?
I was gonna say, do you think that this third episode, do you think that's the setup for like an intense final 3 episodes?
It's tough to say because there's only 3 episodes left. That kind of has to be, right? But what if we don't get that? What if we get 2 more episodes of filler and then 1 more like fight scene?
That's exactly what I expect.
That's
I'm
exactly
not
what's
trying
happen.
to be like sad about it, but that's
yeah,
all
Mikey,
I got.
I mean, Mikey nailed it on the head. Like 1, 3, and 6 are gonna be our 3 movies we probably should have had. Like
they should have
Obi-Wan like rising to realize like he has to do this thing, having that first meeting, losing, licking his wounds, then fighting Vader again.
I'm going to say it one more time and then let it go. There's absolutely no reason why Quinlan Vos should have been mentioned if he does not show up.
Dude, yeah, that's exactly. I'm like, I don't think he's gonna be in it. That's probably something later down the road that we're gonna see in something completely different. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if he's in it.
But there's no reason to. No one knows who Quinlan Vos is.
Exactly. So why would they bat an eye at it? They just know, oh, he mentioned a Jedi, so there is other Jedi. That's all they need to know.
What if it's just like a cool like passing thing for those who know? It's like, it's a tip of the hat to you as being a fan.
Yeah, it's exactly what I think it is.
Seems like it seems like a bold choice in a character to do
it's
that.
The equivalent
that's
of
the frustrating thing.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of like in Spider-Man 2 when he's like Doctor Strange and he's like, oh no, that one's already taken. And he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
as a 10-year-old kid,
But
I'm like,
everyone knows who Doctor Strange is. I knew who
Not-
Doctor Strange was.
not back.
Yeah,
20
but
years,
was he in
not
the movie?
2002? Not in 2002 when Spider-Man 2 came out.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
you did not know who Doctor Strange was when you were like 8 years old. I didn't
Comic
know.
books, dude.
No,
Comic books.
it's okay if he knows. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's the
Well,
fact that he's
yeah.
still not in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But see, the difference is Doctor Strange had so much more exposure than Quinlan Voss ever did. You know,
That's
we
true.
had Star Wars movies before we had Star Wars comic books. They was Marvel
yeah.
comic books before
That's a
there were
good point.
movies.
That even goes to the point even more though, because it's like if nobody definitely doesn't know who that guy is.
Yeah, you're talking about like maybe the 2 percentile of.
And this was already in pre-production going, so now we need to change something. Because I honestly have no
Like
idea.
how
I'm
that
just throwing out
alters a
question.
storyline.
Yeah, maybe like just for instance, maybe say Kenobi was in pre-production in this reportedly canceled trilogy that was supposed to happen in a couple of years. You know, how do something like that, for example, do you think that would affect the storyline or something?
No, because one thing that Disney is intelligent on, even if they're not intelligent on Star Wars, they're intelligent on making products. So they're going to leave it open-ended enough to where, okay, maybe that could be explored later. It's not going to be a direct tie, especially with new projects. I don't think they're that stupid.
I mean, while they are intelligent, they also made the recent trilogy that didn't hit.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and that's why I said they're not Star Wars savvy, but they are movie savvy.
Look, and here's the thing: we could go on for another hour and a half, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
There's so much there. Like there's so many theories. There's so many things to talk about. And again, this is a double-edged sword of a franchise of we love this thing, but we have a very clear idea of what this thing is, to where now we can't just enjoy everything that comes out now of more of this thing. We're constantly comparing it and flip-flopping it and theorizing and being let down because our theories aren't matching up. And it's like, well, this is actually a good theory, so why didn't you just do this? Or you had 6 episodes to tell this thing and you didn't do that. You did this instead. Why? Why didn't you do that? You hit it on the head. They don't know, like, they don't know Star Wars. And that's my thing is like, look, if Filoni and Favreau can't be a part of everything, or at least commit to doing like the next few things and have consistent storytelling and vibes perpetuated throughout the entire thing, that's a mistake for me, in my opinion. Because you have this great thing that's been set up that is akin to what made us fall in love with the original stuff to begin with. And you're not doing that. You bring in Robert Rodriguez to tell a snowflake story. I want something else. Like, I'm ready. I want this to just hit for like, and I don't have to question if it's going to hit. I want to know it's going to hit.
Well,
The
we'll
only
just have
time
to
we'll
see
tell.
how it goes.
Yeah, only time will tell. We're going to check back in a few weeks, see what the pulse is, and someone's going to be right out of all this whole discussion. Someone is going to be right, and if it's me, I'm not going to gloat. I'm not going to
Whatever.
gloat. I'm
He'll
just going to
gloat
be
a little.
like,
He'll gloat a
If I'm
little.
right, I'm gonna gloat.
yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? And I hope it's amazing. I really do. I hope
Same.
I can say, you know what? I was so wrong. I'm so glad that those first 3 episodes exist, because I would not appreciate these last 3 episodes the same way.
Yep.
If
I
we
hope
get it,
I hope it's like The Mandalorian the first time we saw it.
Yeah.
We're just like, that's really interesting, but what's the story about?
Literally.
I hope it's like
Yeah.
that.
if
I
we
really
get a
do.
Quinlan Voss episode that then prompts flashbacks,
That would be cool.
that would be amazing. Just a little bit. One
was gonna
episode
say,
focusing on
I'm-
Clone Wars. Just a
Yeah.
skosh. 10
That'd be
minutes. Done. That would be like, I have to rewatch those 10 minutes like over and over again. Like,
So I will say that if that wasn't in the cards, what is the purpose of the Order 66 opening scene?
that is true.
True.
Yeah. Why would they show that? All good questions. All really good
Well,
questions.
here's a question then. Do
We
you
have to
think-
wrap it up. I'm so sorry. We have
just,
to.
just one quick point.
Okay.
it won't be a
Go for it.
question.
Go for it.
I won't make it a question. So
It's a
there's
statement.
there's been rumored that there's going to be a new Jedi introduced in the show, and I wonder if till was that you, Elijah, that just asked about Order 66?
Mhm.
So maybe to what our original discussion, one of our questions was, I think in the last episode already, but maybe this is all part of, okay, I'm going to introduce this character that was a youngling during this time, and this is the future of Star Wars. Maybe we're going to go that route.
Quinlan Voss
I
saved
know that's
Grogu.
vague, but
Maybe that would make sense. He's on the.
He's the one who saved Grogu. Like the
Elijah just pooped
flashbacks.
himself.
If Quinlan Voss saved Grogu, that will be
That
epic.
makes sense.
That would
I
be
mean,
so cool. I
said
hope
it-
that's the case.
because he's literally been ferrying him. That makes sense. Did we just crack the code?
If that's what's happening, if that's why they put that there, because they never answered that question in Boba Fett about Order 66 with Grogu, if it's Quinlan Voss, that is so cool. I hope
That'd make
that's
the
what happens.
librarian's whole story arc canon too. That'd be cool.
Dude.
What if Grogu went through
Oh.
that same path to get to the Mandalorian's hands?
That would make sense why he's in a random planet somewhere way out in the,
Yeah, like Quinn. Yeah, dude.
wow,
That's cool.
That's it.
I still
that
think
might
it's
be the
Mace
thing.
Windu, but
I need to go to bed.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed our theorizing, our criticizing, our complimenting. We have complimented the show on the first 3 episodes of Kenobi. There's a lot there. It's a big, it's a big opportunity to do something great for the Star Wars community, and I hope that it does well. So we're gonna wrap it up for there. If you have any theories that you'd like us to read on the show about Obi-Wan Kenobi and you want to be part of the conversation with us, hit us up on Twitter, email us at thewannabecollective@gmail.com. That'll be in the description down below. And feel free, let us know what you're thinking of the show. We greatly appreciate it. So we got to wrap up. I think
Are
he's
we
got to take
rating
off.
this?
Nope. As of today, the Wannabe Critic production house, Wannabe Critic Productions, is no longer using a number rated system. We are going to go strictly based off of enjoyment. Like, do you like this thing? Do you not like this thing? As of right now, I like this show, but I want to love it.
love, hate, like.
Love, hate, like. That's exactly right.
Giving it a strong like.
Yeah, I'm giving it a strong like too.
I'm giving it like a soft like.
Good times.
You're giving it a 5.
Yeah. 5. Yeah. Mid. Mega mid. Where can people find you? Jake, why don't you kick us off?
I am Twitter Ferderko, Ferderko, and Instagram Jacob Allen Photos, JACOBALAN Photos.
Lige.
Creep to your left on Twitter and Instagram.
Mikey doesn't want to be found. You can find me at wannabecritic_. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time. Bye. Say goodbye, gents.
Toodles.
Peace.
Bye.
Well, once again, thank you so much for showing up today. I really appreciate it. Again, if this is your first time here, consider subscribing. I know that's the thing that all the YouTubers do. Everyone's asking to sub. The fact of the matter is that it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, and who knows, you might even see a video every now and then that you actually like or may be interested in. Not only that, I do a bunch of stuff, so make sure you check all the information down in the description down below. We got podcasts, we got Let's Plays, we got all kinds of stuff for all kinds of fandoms. So make sure you check that out. I would seriously appreciate it, and I would love to see you around here more. I'm Gabriel Fast. I will always be the Wannabe Critic.